Today I want to share you guys an article that I love. Oh, for once, we're gonna talk about an article that doesn't make me want to take a nearby bleach and drink it. Seriously though, I freaking love this article, even though every part of this article should have been filled with me just hating and shitting on it, but I ended up loving it. How? Well, first off, you might be discouraged by the title and also the picture.
Overwatch VFX artist Rachel Day on why diversity in gaming matters.
That's right, we're gonna talk about diversity in Overwatch once again, from someone with a purple hair no less, those typical feminists with their purple hairs. But guys, it's just a cover. Trust me, this chick is going to drop some truth bombs. And I love it. In my last video, we talked about how diversity in Overwatch has caused toxic players to run rampant in the game. So yes, you can have diversity, but you need to remember that these people are human beings too, as in, they're capable of shit-talking to each other, even if they're not straight, white, cis, or men. All of this is because they're playing competitive multiplayer, and that can cause some people to become very emotional.
Oh my god, look at this motherfucker camping, of fucking course. How did I not know?
This game developer that is being interviewed, I think she's freaking awesome, and I can show to you why. Her answers are actually pretty good. The article asks incredibly loaded questions and make it as if she's only talking about diversity, which she isn't. She also talks about a lot of things other than that, and the only one who is pushing the diversity agenda is the article, and not the game dev. The game dev is too busy making Overwatch, and this article is too busy pushing an agenda.
As a visual effects artist on Overwatch, a video game that has reached more than 35 million players and counting, Rachel Day has proven my parents wrong. Let me explain. Growing up, my mom and dad told me that playing video games would get me nowhere in life. There wasn't a job market for it, they said. People who play video games as adults end up living in their mother's basement, they warned.
As much as I love to just shove how well I'm doing in my YouTube channel to my parents, talking about my hobbies and things that I love to talk about, I sometimes just wish that I can be on their footsteps and know what it feels like to worry about the future of my kids. Sometimes it can get satisfying to prove them wrong, but sometimes I can also sympathize with them, if you know what I mean. They love you and they want the best for you, so that's why they're worried that you just might end up as a lazy sloth. Well, I am a lazy sloth, so I guess I've disappointed them.
Lo and behold, Day is living proof that a career in the gaming industry is not just plausible, but that the opportunities within it have grown exponentially over the last decade or so. There are professional gaming leagues, games on multitudes of platforms, and careers in nearly every aspect of gaming, from accounting to in-depth game development.
Where can I sign up to be a stripper? I mean Twitch streamer.
Recently, Blizzard Entertainment, one of the biggest gaming companies, took over the Anaheim Convention Center in Southern California to host the 11th annual BlizzCon. Over the course of 2 days, 30,000 plus fans gathered from around the world to share their love for all the things Blizzard related, cheer on their favorite esports teams, and try out new features coming to Blizzard games.
Lots of fans cheer up on the release of WoW Classic servers, and non-WoW fans got so confused in why they celebrate the release of vanilla servers. Maybe because there are too many expansion packs that just make the game so unbalanced. But I'm not a WoW fan, so I can't really tell. And now we get into the meat of this article, the actual conversations. I don't want to get into the articles too long, so instead I'm just going to sum up on the questions that they ask and focus on the more interesting bits. So Rachel Day has been playing Vidia for years now, coming all the way from the Atari days, playing classic id games like Doom, Wolfenstein, and Heretic. When she was asking whether or not it was difficult for her to get into the gaming workspace, she said that it was a little bit difficult. She started in psychology, then pursued her passion in video games, went to art school, got an internship in Blizzard's QA department, and she got an offer for a very nice position. She applied for it, and here we are. From this one, we can see that the woman is coming from a respectable background. She has great passion for art and video games, and she worked her hard ass off to get into making video games with Blizzard. This is a very nice, inspiring story of a game developer that shows if you're a woman and you're passionate in developing video games, and video games in general, you can absolutely get into the scene and make some goddamn Vidia. The article then asks this question.
It's a male-dominated industry, which is obvious even here at the convention. Have you run into any obstacles with that?
Yes, I know it's a very biased question, but as much as I hate biased questions like this, I actually want people to just ask this question. The reason is because I want game developers who are women in the industry to just tell people how is it like working in there. This is to verify whether or not the gaming industry is a sexist workplace, and since it's dominated by men, they're gonna disrespect them at every corner. But despite me wanting to know the answer for that, I don't want the question to be asked in this manner. Instead, the question should go like this. Some people say that gaming is a male-dominated industry and that it's exclusionary to women. Do you think that's true? Do you run into any obstacles with it? I think asking it that way feels more neutral instead of just straight up saying, well, it is, so what do you think about it? I don't think as an interviewer you're supposed to immediately take a biased stance and just ask loaded questions like this. Thankfully, Rachel doesn't disappoint with her answer.
Like you said, it is a male-dominated industry, but I don't think of it as that. When I come into work, I'm just there with my coworkers. It doesn't really matter that much. It's something that we're aware of and something that we know exists and happens, but personally, I've had extremely good experiences working with people. I've never felt like what I'm saying doesn't matter to people. I've never been cast out of a meeting or talked over or whatever, so I think we're really conscious of it.
This is a great answer that would definitely come from a female game developer. If you're a game developer working in any aspects of the game, your identity doesn't really matter. What matters is whether or not you are passionate about developing video games. And since Rachel is passionate in art and video games, the thought that this is a male-dominated industry just never come up to her. I say this for certain because I'm in STEM, specifically information systems, and it's dominated by men. Not only the women are excellent in there, they don't really care if men dominate the field. They're very passionate in their work, which in result make them good at their job to the point where some are even better at coding and operating softwares than men. There's nothing wrong with people who go against the norm of the majority gender of certain fields, as long as they're passionate about said fields. If you know me, I was very much into fanfictions and Tumblr. I don't mind being inside a community surrounded by women, the same way Rachel doesn't mind being inside a community surrounded by men. That's because we have a passion towards these specific hobbies, and this passion doesn't care about your identity at all. It's going to be in everyone as long as you're human.
That has drawn a lot of players to the Overwatch area. What's the consensus you've heard from the audience in terms of diversity, especially with Overwatch being the biggest game in the world?
This is such a weird question that even she is confused in how to answer it. Article, maybe you should start asking questions that have nothing to do with diversity. It's been established that Overwatch is a very diverse game with lots of toxicity too. How about asking what kind of things that she designed in the game? What kind of visual effects that she had to work with? What softwares that she have to use? How is she able to construct those effects and program it into the game? Those are interesting questions, right? But nope, diversity!
I'm so glad that we're just showing all aspects of life, and it doesn't have to be a singular demographic. There are so many people that love video games. Even just walking around here at BlizzCon, you see families, you see everybody. It's the full spectrum, and it's great!
Okay, so we finally answered the question on the article. Why does diversity matter? Because diversity feels great. That's it. This is the basis of this entire article. This paragraph right here. Diversity feels great and it's so cool! Yeah? So? You know what else I think is cool? Dragons! Do you need to add dragons in every movie or video game? This article is trying to tell people this Overwatch game dev here shows why diversity matters. And all she said was, well, diversity is great and cool. Not that I disagree with the sentiment, I think diversity can be cool, it's just that it's not required in everything. You keep on making moral justifications in why it needs to be in everything where it doesn't need to be. You failed spectacularly in this instance because the person you're interviewing doesn't make any justifications. Pick someone with better arguments or make better arguments yourself. The next question, ladies and gentlemen, is why I absolutely love this article.
What kind of advice do you have, specifically for young women looking to get into the art or design aspects of the video game industry?
Now I'm going to let her answer this herself. There's never a closed door, that's the first thing. If you want to get to a point where you feel like you're stuck, just keep pushing forward. There will be another opportunity, there will be more time, so don't take no for an answer and just keep on going. Secondly, learn as much as you can. I have never stopped learning. We have a saying at Blizzard, learn and grow, and we're constantly learning and growing. We're taking classes and all of that stuff and trying to improve ourselves, so constant improvement is key. Specifically for people who wanted to get into art, always be creating. Even if it's not video game art, I don't go home and make video game art. I do that for my job. I go home and I make costumes, or I go home and create photography projects and things like that. It's still keeping your mind sharp, always be creating. In other words, get good!
How's that for pole ball?
Brilliant. I love you. I absolutely freaking love you. I love this interview. This game designer not only disproves everything that the mainstream media and game journalists loves to say, but it also confirms every advice that I give in the past. If you want to get into the gaming industry, if you're into the art design of the games, keep on drawing. If you're into the coding, keep on coding. If you're into the story, keep on writing. The answer is simple and easy, sure, but it's something that the game journalists cannot comprehend. All of us gamers, we have a passion, and our passion of playing video games, creating, producing, talking about video games, it is simply unstoppable. And that unstoppable passion is something that a lot of these journalists cannot comprehend. Another thing that they cannot comprehend is that passion is blind of your identity. As long as you're a human being, if you're passionate about something, you can overcome any obstacles, including social stigmas. There are people who say that women can't be gamers, and you know what passionate female gamers do? They keep on playing video games and tell these people to fuck off, not complain about it on Twitter or make hundreds of articles about how gamers are misogynist and sexist. The only way for us to get women and minorities into gaming is if they have the same fire and passion towards gamers as men do. And unfortunately, on average, a lot of women just don't really have the same passion. It's rare for women to be passionate in video games the same way men are. And that's fine. You don't have to force it or consider that a bad thing. If women aren't interested in video games, that's fine. The women who are already playing games do not care at all. They just want to play video games and have fun. This developer over here says that as long as you're passionate, never give up and get good with your skills, you can be a part of the gaming community and contribute into it. So to all game journalists, can you comprehend this? Or is this concept too alien for you? The interview moves on from gaming and proceeds to discuss about cosplays. Nothing too disagreeable in the cosplay department. In fact, I think her cosplay is fantastic, but I just want to focus on the gaming part. So article, you have made no good arguments for the question that you asked in the title, and the game dev you interviewed not only doesn't answer the question very well, but also give a brilliant advice to all the upcoming game developers out there that just disprove the many common narratives that a lot of game journalists love to push. The gaming community is so sexist and misogynistic, they allow a woman to be passionate in video games and be a game developer. What a misogynistic community, right?